de tudo, um sentimento bom que me leva pro outro mundo. A vontade de te ver já é maior que tudo. Não existem distâncias no meu novo mundo, tipo coisas da sétima.
Episode 53, Clint Cronin Show. We're here in the Bay Area American Kickboxing Academy with Alex Kababian and the owner and founder of all the AKAs everywhere, Javier Mendez. Welcome. Been wanting to have you on for a while now, so it's an honor to finally be able to meet up and do the show here. We're here at headquarters, which is an amazing academy responsible for turning out some of the Bay Area, well, the world's finest mixed martial arts fighters, kickboxers, boxers, wrestlers of all types. How's it going, man? Happy Friday.
Well, happy Friday. It's going well, doing really well. I'm so impressed with you. I mean, you're a one-man operation. Well, one man and the boss.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Gotta listen to the boss. That's important.
The boss. Have to say the boss because that has to be important. Got to say the boss.
Gotta say the boss.
Yeah, because if I didn't just said you, that wouldn't have been good. The boss. We're looking at you, boss.
Man, well, it's you got to be prepared, right? So, if anything, being part of the AKA family for the last, since 2007, under Alex over at AKA Sunnyvale, if nothing else, we've basically we have to be prepared at all times. So, from martial arts to how we carry ourselves outside of the business world or on the mat. So. I don't want to just show up with an iPhone and be like, hey, let's do a podcast real quick. There's a lot of that, right? So it's, Alex Kababian, he's, the people who don't know already, he's been on the show and he's done tons of stuff in his career. He's the owner of the Sunnyvale, AKA branch, that's where I train. It's right down the street from where I live. So it's like Alex is the guy I go to when I have problems, and then like Javier is the guy Alex goes to. So it's like two generations of people.
It's not really like I go to. It's more like, or the phone call, Alex, what are you doing? So it's a little bit different. But no, Hobbs, it's the exact opposite. Hobbs stays out of my business. We have a great relationship. I've known this guy, 35, almost 40 years. So it's, it's been a blessing more than anything. I mean, when I retired from fighting, and Hobbs said, hey, do you think well, I asked him personally. I said, is it possible that maybe I can open up a gym after I retire from fighting? And he said, hey, let's do it. And so it's worked out really well. I mean, it's people like you have come into the gym. It's amazing. We've really done well within the community. It's fantastic. I've really enjoyed it.
I always thought the biggest sort of testament to AKA how it differed from a lot of other gyms is like you hear a lot about fighters in the mainstream going in different camps and everything here, and the AKA guys, I mean, for the most part, it's one collective unit. It's a family. So even when you hear like the sparring's a little harder, it's like that's how brothers and sisters do. That's how family is. It is more intense, and like having that bond, that relationship, it transcends just going from this gym to that gym. It's more of a family. So for me, AKA has been a family. I've gone through my own ups and downs over the last, 10 years. And, Alex has always been a great friend, mentor, and a teacher and everything. So it's a real testament to the community, the family that you've built in AKA as a whole.
Well, in reality, I build AKA as a whole, but a lot of misfits. It's been a bunch of misfits. And I somehow or another I make it work, and sometimes I pull my hair out trying to keep everybody together. And I keep always being told for years, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" Well, because I care, and that's why I'm doing this. And it's rough. It's really rough. Nobody realizes it, but we are the #1 longest reigning MMA team that's still together. That's a top team. There's nobody even close. All the top teams that are out there now are, those guys were fighting when I was still coaching, so it is a testament to what we are as a family and how we cultivate each other and help each other, and we fight. Yeah, definitely we fight. I've almost got into quite a few scuffles with a few guys. I've taken a punch from Daniel Cormier one time trying to break him up, and Luke Rockhold from fighting, and all of a sudden I step in, me and Crazy Bob are going nuts, and all of a sudden I go, boom, I hit a left hook right to my jaw. Daniel Cormier trying to hit Luke. Oh. And following that, we separate him, and next thing you know, as I'm holding pads for Daniel, he accidentally knees me right in the jaw, and he's so apologetic for hitting me with the knee to the jaw, but he was trying to knock Luke's head off with that left hook, and he hit me. No apology. No apology there. But yeah, hit Hob by accident. oh, you're sorry. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's the kind of family I have.
I always laugh at. I remember when Hav was like, "Hey, when are you gonna start trying to help me with coaching and stuff?" I said, "Hav, these guys are prima donnas. Some of these guys. I mean, this is when Josh Koscheck. I mean, people don't know. Josh Thompson, he earned his nickname. He was the punt for a reason. I mean, some of these guys were just being such jerks. I'm like, Hav, how do you do it? I don't know how you do it. I'm not gonna. No way. And then finally, I got dragged in here. I finally started coaching, and I'm like, I still don't know how he's done it for all these years. It's amazing. Some of these guys are just incredible. They think they're the greatest guys in the world. I mean, we got, I don't even want to name names. Sometimes you're like, dude, chill, relax. I mean, it's great to be confident, but some of these guys are overconfident. But part of being a fighter is you have to believe in yourself. But dealing with them as a coach, it takes a really special temperament, and that's what Javier does really well at.
I always wondered how that was. It's like a very delicate balance, right? Like you don't want to be a yes man for your guys, but at some point it's like, come on, just talk regular for 5 minutes, please.
Well, number one thing you have to realize is you're the leader, and you show any weakness, they'll pounce all over you and they'll run you over. And I've not one time showed a weakness to them. I'm not allowed them, and I can never allow them. And once I do that, forget about it. Checkmate. You're done. No, they're never going to get me. I'm always going to stay on top of them because I have to. If I want to keep my team strong and I want to keep my coaches strong, I have to be strong. Once I get weak, they run me over, you're done.
Oh yeah, it's like a Pride Alliance. It's the elite of the elite coming from all over in here, and it's the top of MMA. It's the top wrestlers coming in, the top strikers. So, yeah, I can imagine. I know guys that run much smaller academies, just jiu-jitsu academies, where it's a very physical business, and they always have to be on point. They always have to be ready to regulate. So with this is a whole other level. This is the top. So I can only imagine.
Well, you have to have order, and the number one thing that's very important is the coaches have to be respected. And my biggest problems have been when my fighters don't respect the coaches. And I remember one time we were filming the reality show, and Mike Kyle disrespected one of the coaches. And I got so mad. So me and Mike Kyle, we were going at it in the restroom, right? We were jawing at each other and cussing each other out and this and that. And, and he's talking about, well, I'm going to go this. And I said, then effing do it, God damn it. And then, before you know it, we were looking, all of a sudden we realized we were being filmed while this was going on. And I'm going, oh crap. Good thing Mike Kyle wasn't part of the reality, that we were doing. So it wasn't, they cut it out, but that was a pretty intense.
Thank God for editing.
Yeah, we both realized we were like, oh shit, we're being filmed. Yeah. So then we were like, all of a sudden we're like, no problem. But no, I have to do that because if I don't let them know that I'm willing to go the full 10 yards with them, then what respect do they have for me? And it has to be correct. You can't do it for any reason. It has to be the right reason, and you have to do it for the respect of the team and the order of the team. It can't be your stupid ego. And my ego's never gotten in the way of me keeping the team together, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're still together. The other reason is that regardless if you're the $1 million fighter to the fighter that doesn't make any money, I give you attention, and you're always available to talk to me, and that's important also.
So in terms of like your team captains right now for like the pro and the amateur MMA teams, who are your top coaches or your number one, who your go-to guys are basically?
Well, my number one go-to guy is Daniel Cormier. He's my number one guy. He's the team captain. He does a lot of things behind the scenes. He does a lot of financial things. He does a lot of things to help the team out. He actually is a real team captain, not like just the name team captain. He really is a team captain, and the man wears his heart on his sleeve, and his emotions and everything. He shows it, and he's a real man. I mean, anybody that can do what he does and has done, it needs to be respected and needs to be applauded, And no, I respect and love that guy to death. I mean, he's an unbelievable part. I'm so glad that he's part of Team AKA.
Oh, absolutely. He's probably one of the most respected fighters out there, and I mean, just his title reign, the way he held it down for as long. I thought he was winning that last fight. I thought for sure. I'm like, man, he came into his own. It was amazing. I respect the hell out of Daniel Cormier. I'm a huge fan. Just an amazing guy.
Well, in that fight, we knew what we were up against. We did everything that we needed to do. We were prepared for that fight. I thought that we were going to edge that fight out. I thought it was going to be a 5-round war. I thought whoever screwed up, if someone screwed up, the other one can capitalize on that screw up. But I didn't, I said if we screwed up, he'll get it, and then if he does, we'll get it. And it was going like I thought it could go. But John, being as great as John is, he capitalized on going down low, and then Daniel fainting, thinking he was going low. He went up top. It was a great move on his part, but up to that point, the fight was extremely competitive. I thought it was going our favor. But, like anything, right? You got 10 seconds, you got 5 seconds, even 1 second, the fight's not over. So, John did what John does. And, Daniel will be back, and we'll see whether he continues to fight or whether he continues to coach or commentating. The doors are open for him. He's going to have a lot of opportunities. And I think he gained, in the worst situation that could possibly have happened, he gained more fans, by showing who he really is.
He just came out. He seemed like he was on such a stride, just had a whole new confidence. Like he put the pressure on John. John didn't, for the first 2 rounds, he looked like he didn't have an answer for DC at all. He just came out with a whole new confidence, just a whole rejuvenated sort of new DC. And in terms of how he has been on the microphone lately and all his broadcasting stuff, like it just seems like he's at a peak right now. Like he's the best he's going to be moving forward. Like I want to see I'd like to see another fight. I think he could beat him.
Well, whether we see another fight between John and DC, it really depends on both of those guys. If you're going on the pay-per-view numbers, they're saying anywhere from 850 to 1.1 mil. So I don't know what the actual figure is going to be. We won't really actually know till later. But it definitely trended high. It was definitely the highest, pay-per-view this year. The pay-per-view has been very bad for the UFC, but this one in particular, the bad blood between them was real. And the fact that Conor and Mayweather were on kind of led people to believe that maybe it wasn't going to be as big of a deal for pay-per-view, but it actually did. So can you imagine how big this would have been had Conor and Mayweather not had their fight so close? It would have been a lot bigger. It would definitely been over 1 million, maybe 1.5 million. Who knows? But one thing's for sure, that people were interested in that fight. They got their money's worth in the main event.
Oh, absolutely. It had been the most talked about fight in quite some time. It's the biggest rivalry right now in MMA, period. I mean, no matter what they do with the McGregor fight or McGregor and Diaz, I mean, it's a real rivalry between Jones and DC, and people really want to see the end of it. And I don't think people quite satisfied yet. I mean, it's 2 fights. I'd like to see a third, whether it happens or not. But it was a great fight, and their exchanges are probably the most entertaining right now. In the UFC, right there up there with.
Well, it definitely was a very competitive. 2.5 rounds. And at a high level, at the highest level, you had number 1 greatest of all time, light heavyweight versus number 2 greatest of all time, light heavyweight. And I don't think their status has changed one bit. I think even more people are looking at these guys and going, man, these guys really are number 1 and number 2. Everybody knew for sure John was number 1. Nobody doubted that. But now everybody is 100% on board that DC is number 2, and the number 2 could actually really beat number 1. But if that's going to happen, we don't know. We don't know.
So, I mean, I wanted to, pick your brain about the DC and John Jones thing a little bit, but I kind of wanted to go back, way back. I mean, this is American Kickboxing Academy, and I'm all about talking about, brands that really represent the Bay Area and like what the Bay Area sort of means to martial arts as a whole. But AKA could have been American Dream Academy, like you coming here, immigrant family back in the 60s, and basically, with not much, and being able to build this and to build this family and to build like this legacy, it's really amazing. And for the Bay Area, for martial arts, I don't know if many historians outside of like just true martial arts, geeks or diehards really realize the contribution that you and AKA have had, and that the Bay Area has had to martial arts. So it's for me, it's been an honor to be a part of it. Even from the Sunnyvale side, I don't get out to headquarters nearly as much as I want to and should, but. Man, so this way back when you guys started this, you were working at a glass factory or at a glass shop, or
a glass shop. Jim Armeta's. It was on Pro Avenue, Capital Glass, with a student of mine, Jim Armeta. He basically let me use his gym. I mean, his glass shop. We had to get the cars out, get the glass off the floor, and I would teach my guys. Actually, that's where I started teaching Alex. Oh. And I work all the guys out there. And at one time, we started sparring in there. But after my second sparring session, I had one of my guys in there sparring. I'm thinking he's far away enough from the mirrors, right, that nothing's gonna happen. He was like 10 feet away, and within seconds, they got so close, my guy sliced his back. And right there, that was the end of me wanting to have any kind of sparring at the glass shop. So as a result of that, my instructor at that time was Bellator president Scott Coker, and he had a gym on Union Avenue called West Coast Taekwondo, and he had asked me if I wanted to take that over, and I said, yeah, sure. It was a great opportunity, right? So I took that over, and then that's how we started. But shortly thereafter, there was a friend of mine named Kim Rhodes who worked for Anheuser-Busch. He probably still does. I was thinking of what kind of name to name the gym, and I was thinking some Korean name or this and that name. And he's looking at me. He goes, hey, dude, why don't you just call it American Kickboxing Academy? I go, dude, I'm Mexican, I go, what the hell? I'm going to call American Kickboxing Academy. I'm Mexican. He goes, where were you born? I was born in Mexico. He goes, well, it's North America, right? I said, yeah, well, it's American. So I said, all right, American Kickboxing Academy. So there you go. That's how AKA was born,
He fooled you on that one.
Cool. That'll work.
I thought the same thing. I remember when I was like, where you popping from, Michoacan or Mexico, man? But no, and it stuck. That was a great name. It worked out really well.
Yeah, Kim Rhodes.
I remember it was as a kid, it was so funny because I was 16, 17 years old, and Hobbs was like 5 years older than me. And he said, hey, come, you know a little karate, you know how to box. Let's go down. When I went into the glass shop, I'm like, we're going to train here? And then, and we had to take our brooms out, and we would just push the glass out of the way, and we had pads on the side, and there was like 4 or 5 of us, and we would train, and it was amazing. And then when we got the gym, that was like, oh, cool, it's an actual real gym. This is awesome. And it just kept growing from there. It's a great story.
Yeah, he was my worst student, this one right here. Absolute worst. You know what he do to people? He was only 135 pounds, right? And we have guys, he's still probably 140 wet, if that. But I had guys that are like 210 pounds, and he was so experienced, right? So I tell Alex, don't hurt him. Okay. So he's all there working. Next thing you know, he's beating the shit out of these guys, and just knocking the crap out of them. The guys are all pissed off, and I'm telling Alex, I told you, chill out with him. He goes, I was. He wasn't. He was out beating the crap out of these guys all the goddamn time. And because one guy even goes, stand still, you little fucker.
Oh, man.
Oh, okay, sure. No, but we had a lot of tough guys, though. We had a lot of guys. You had a couple of Hell's Angel guys that trained with you. You had,
well, they weren't Hell's Angels when they were training with us. Maybe after.
Yeah.
After.
So, okay.
After, not before.
Yeah, but I mean, there was we had a couple of bodybuilder guys. There were some big dudes that were there. So, I'm a little guy. I'm figuring, hey, they should take my shots, no problem.
Yeah, well, realistically, if I ran a gym the way I did it back then, we wouldn't have any students.
Yeah, it
wouldn't work. It wouldn't work.
Hardcore.
So at that point, was the glass shop before or after BJ and Frank Shamrock and those guys?
No, that was before. BJ. The way the history went is right after we went to the glass shop, my first MMA experience was Paul Poliver Barlins, who befriended Brian Johnston. And when he befriended Brian Johnston, Brian asked him to come to train at the gym at the one I had on Union Avenue. So Paul would come in and he'd work with Brian there. And then, as a result of that, Paul asked if I would go to him with him to the Ultimate in Denver, which was 1995 in December. And so I said, yeah. So I went with him. So that was my first experience to the UFC was in 1995 at the Ultimate in Denver, where Dan Severn just killed everybody.
Nice.
Then from there, Art Davies was the matchmaker at that particular time with the UFC, and I knew Art Davies from the K1 because I had Jerome Turcan and Jean-Claude Loyer, world champion kickboxers, that I put in the K1 USA. So I told Art, hey, I have this young guy, he's very athletic, he wrestled in high school, and a judo guy that I think could fit into UFC. But back then, it wasn't how talented you were as much as how big and burly you were. And Brian was a very athletic guy. So as a result of Brian Johnston, he met Frank Shamrock, and from Frank Shamrock, came to me because of Brian. Frank Shamrock came to me because of Brian Johnston. As a result of that, BJ Penn came around because he was friends with Bobby Southworth, who trained with Ralph Gracie at that particular time. And then BJ kept snooping around, coming around through Bobby. And he said, hey, you know, once I'm done with this thing, I want to compete in the Worlds and be the first, you know, a non-Brazilian to win the Worlds. And I said, cool. So, you know, I thought, you know, based on the way everybody was talking about him as a, you know, how great he was at jiu-jitsu, I thought BJ was going to win. So I kind of did expect to see him. And as time went on, he won the Worlds. And sure enough, there he is. He comes showing up. And he goes, you train Frank. I want you to train me. So as a result of training him, and Crazy Bob Cook was also involved with that transition, because Crazy Bob was a fighter himself. He was 7-0 in the UFC. The last fight was against Tiki Goosen. I don't know if I pronounced his name right, so sorry, Tiki, if I mispronounced your name. But from that point, you know, Bob and I took over, and we started getting more and more people. And then I think it was 2001 or something like that, Dwayne Zinkin came on board to help manage fighters. And that's where, like, Josh Koscheck, John Fitch, Cain Velasquez, and the so forth came.
Oh, wow. You mentioned Art Davey earlier. I had him on maybe 6 months ago. He's actually a friend of my mom. It was just a random situation where my mom gives me a call and she said, I met one of your UFC or MMA friends. I don't know who he is. Like, oh, that's nice, Mom. His name's Art Davey. All right, now you got my attention. I was like, I just figured she met someone at the grocery store. Their grandson, was training or something. She said, "Oh, you met the founder of the UFC or the guy that invented the thing." I'm like, okay, no, now we're talking. But he's got some awesome stories from back in the day, and why they set up in Denver and all this stuff. It was basically you could only it was the only place where you could get a bare knuckle boxing license with like only a $10,000 liability on the business. So that's why they apparently went to Denver.
The problem with the UFC back in the earlier stages is, the president, he angered everybody. He didn't make friends with too many people. So it was very difficult. They weren't going to go anywhere. It wasn't until the Fertittas took over and they regulated it. Went to the state athletic commissions. First thing they did was regulate it. And the very first thing they did, and was were very smart on their part, is they hired the number one most respected guy in the world, and the sanctioning was Mark Ratner.
Yep.
So they had Mark Ratner go out there and do all these, with every state and, work everything out. So he was a key person in helping sanction these events in every state, worldwide, was Mark Ratner. And the Fertittas did it the right way, very smart for them to grab the best they can and go work for them. And, and I knew Mark from when I was working at the K1 USA through Scott Coker. And I found it to be extremely fair, so that's the key as to why all these puzzles fit together,
It's crazy going back and watching the old tapes of Ultimate and the original few UFCs and looking at now it's the hottest sport in the world, and the production and UFCs and the Bellator and, what they're doing still in, Russia and Japan, like ONE FC. It's just the production's amazing. Everything's organized. There's weight classes. Everything's so professional compared to the bare knuckle days of the original UFC. It's grown like crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. Everybody wants to be involved, and at the beginning nobody knew what was up, but the Gracies knew what was up. They knew that their style singular was unbeatable. And it really is, if you really just go style for style, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is unbeatable. It really is, they can outlast you, and the longer the fight goes, the more advantages they have.
It's crazy how everyone's basically just so good at everything now. This new generation of athletes, the kids are so much better. They all know everything. They're amazing athlete wrestlers, and they have their parents. They were already fans, or they already were martial artists. They were already in MMA, so they have all those years of experience. The kids coming up. So now that you have the kids wrestling program over here, you watch what they can do, and they're amazing. They're already amazing athletes, like 12 years old.
Yeah, no, the new crop of stars in MMA, they're not going to come from Division I schools. They're coming from MMA schools. I have some here already that are already, national champions in jiu-jitsu and, national champions in wrestling, So, no, that's the future, but it'll be a little while still, but it's coming real quick.
Yeah, if there's ever a draft again, they just go right to the MMA schools. You have like these amazing warriors already pre-built with like determination and will, and all the skills in the world you need to take somebody down. So if they ever need to build a new army, they can just go MMA school to MMA school, wrestling school to wrestling school, and it's already pre-done for them.
Well, look what the president of Chechnya is doing. I mean, he's using MMA as a way to build his army. And it's doing incredible, they're incredible force over there, and it's MMA driven, it's a powerful tool. You can use it the correct way, you can use it the wrong way, but it's a very powerful tool that the world leaders are starting to see, especially him. He's starting to see the importance of it, and he's using it to his advantage.
Oh, it's brilliant too. You can basically look at the popularity, how hot MMA is, and look at American TV. Look how much fun they're having. It's a big thing, superstars, blah blah blah, and then they're basically training to be soldiers without you don't even have to realize you're doing it.
Yeah,
you just go and have fun as kids.
Well, the sport's going really big when you see in the news MMA. Professional fighter, and he's not an MMA professional fighter. He might have trained at an AK gym or something like that, and they're making it look like this guy's some monster killer, and he's probably been a guy that's just been in the gym a couple times, this and that, because I had actually a situation happen here like that, where there was some kids that come in here, and they had robbed somebody. They took their car and the whole bit, and all of a sudden I looked at the news, and it made it look like these guys were professional assassin type people. And I'm like, oh my God, they've only been in my gym one time, but they were AKA killers, and I'm like, oh my God, So that's when the news, when they do things like that, they make it bigger, because how do they make it bigger? Well, they lie. They lie about associations with this, but you attach to a big name gym, and they make it from AKA. But if you put just MMA fighter, then it's, it gets some attention, but you could put it from a famous gym like an ATT or Greg Jackson's or, AKA, then all of a sudden it becomes a bigger deal, and they're looking for just sensationalizing anything. They're not looking for actual real reality truth. I mean, the truth was the guy only trained one time in the gym. He tried it out, but all of a sudden he's a killer from AKA. So that's why the sport is growing, that the news is using it as a big deal, and it's not.
Yeah, it's that whole phenomenon. I mean, even in jiu-jitsu itself, like in Brazil for a long time had a really bad rep. You talk about, bully proof, and it's used now to help with bullying, and it's, to, empowering people. But back in the day, it was like kind of the dick martial art in Brazil. People would go into, clubs and stuff, and they, start trouble, start fights, test their stuff, in the favelas and stuff. And then now, after UFC blows up, it gets big, and now jiu-jitsu is all, it's accepted in Brazil. It's a cool thing to do.
Well, if you think about it, right? I mean, I myself would not be thinking too highly of it if I'm training in martial arts, but I'm looking to defend myself. I'm not looking to test it against anybody. So I'm taking a particular martial arts, and someone else that's out there trying to prove their art's the best, he comes into my gym and threatens me, and what am I going to do? Just sit there and go, oh, you're the best, without even knowing? It's like they test your manhood, they test your courage, they test your spirit. So you're going to have to fight. But I don't want to be put in that situation. So what's my thought about that? What a dick move. I go, man, I was minding my own business. You wanted to just prove your art was better than mine. I took martial arts to defend myself. I didn't take it because who's the best art. So yeah, I can definitely see that. But unfortunately for all of us, that it became such a great turnaround. That that's a great sport. But the way it started, I can see it. But I get the vision that they had was a great vision, because look where we're at now.
Yeah, just think of from UFC 1 or the Gracie the Gracie Explained tapes from back in 1993 or 92 to what it is now, and all the different industries, and the clothing and the Reebok deals, and the all the different industries that have spawned off of just jiu-jitsu, and then Vale Tudo, MMA, and now look what it is now. I mean, we're on a podcast talking about it's meta. It's like 3 levels.
Yeah, the UFC sells for what, 4.2 billion. And now they're looking at it potentially could be worth up to 5 to 6 billion. Come on. I mean, that's amazing. They bought it for, I believe, was what, 2 million or 5 million? They bought it from Bob Marowitz, the UFC. I don't know. I should remember if it was 2 million or 5 million, but that's what they bought it for. Look what they did with it.
That's amazing.
I mean, how they talk about getting filthy rich, right? They had a dream, they had a love. That Fertitas had a love for it. You know, and I remember too, because they had, when they bought it over, they had brought all the main guys like Randy Couture and to come in and teach them private lessons, and, you know, Frank Shamrock. And then that's why I knew they really loved the sport. They wanted to learn more about it. So they hired a lot of their top guys to come and teach them privates.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, I'm thankful for that. So I look back when I was a kid, and my father would always say, you know, Alex, they're using you. Why are you doing this? Why do you keep fighting? What's going on? And sure enough, the evolution of MMA, it's created a whole industry. I'm able to make a living doing this. I mean, if MMA wasn't around, I wouldn't be able to have a gym. You know, so I'm thankful for that. So it is amazing, and I see it growing. There's good and bad with that though too. So I mean, AKA is a world-renowned, you know, MMA gym, but there's a lot of little gyms that are opening up, and sometimes when that happens, you see guys that really don't know what they're doing. They're opening up these gyms. They're good businessmen, but they're not really good technically teaching these arts. So there's a fine line, you know, and the person that's walking the street, they don't know the difference. You know, you say, you can write whatever you want. Oh, I'm a world champion this, I'm a MMA fighter. You know, if they don't do their research, they might run into the wrong gym. So it's that's one thing that's people really need to educate themselves when they're looking for gyms.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you think with the internet out there and Yelp and all that stuff that, you know, it does a lot of good and sort of, you know, weeds out the bad ones. I mean, there's like, what's the website, Bullshito? They call it McDojos, right? So if there'll be like a internet forum, and if somebody finds a gym that's, you know, it's got some BS instructor or fake black belt teaching or whatever, they'll find it. And a lot of people, the public will go in there and they'll actually, you know, they'll call them out on it. But, you know, it takes a while, and a lot of people lose a lot of money. And, you know, if they're there for like self-defense and they learn, you know, a bunch of crap, and then something bad happens, it's like, oh man. But, you know, you hope with the internet and the information age being as it is that, you know, people are able to find good places to come and train. And, you know, in the Bay Area, you go to AKA, we have everything ever.
Well, you know, it's really hard actually when you go on social media to really find a good gym unless you really know what you're looking for. Because if you look at, you know, Yelp and stuff, and you got a disgruntled student, and he posts something really bad on Yelp, and you're thinking, oh, that gym must suck and this and that. Well, it's just that one individual, or maybe he has wrong information and he does something. So to me, it's the way I look at, if you're looking for a good MMA gym, and if it's for competition, then look and see what that gym has as far as competitors. Who do they have? How long they've been around? You know, what are they producing? You know, you need to look at things like that. But it's hard because some people don't understand what they're looking for. You know, so, you know, it is really a hard deal, but you know, looking at Yelp and things like that, sometimes it's misleading, you know, because the greatest gym could be right there, but Yelp, because people go on Yelp, and what do? Write a review. And what do? Write a review because they're angry at somebody or something. And so you can't really count on that all the time. So there's a lot of things you got to look for other than just Yelp and Facebook and all these other things.
I'm not a big fan of Yelp. I could go off on just Yelp. I could spend an hour saying how much I do not like Yelp.
As a business owner, I can agree.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm on both sides. I've been on both sides. You know, now that I'm the business owner, it's like they give so much power to the customer, and that's great, and I think that's cool. But oftentimes, especially, you know, if you're a fighter, we have a gym. Our goal is we want to produce great fighters. We want to teach people different martial arts and be, you know, proficient at them. And then sometimes you come in, just a simple thing. Maybe like I'll give an example. I had just hired a girl to work the front desk. It was her first day. And this lady comes in, and, you know, and the person that I hired wanted to, you know, to show, hey, I can do this job. So they were over exuberant, you know, trying to sell them and do stuff that normally we don't do. And this lady went on Yelp and just killed us, you know. But that was that one thing. They went in at that one time, and sure enough, you know, we got a bad review for that. I was like, well, that's not what we do here, you know.
Well, what about Yelp calling you themselves personally and asking you if you'd like to get good reviews, that they will help you? And
exactly.
So here they are, they're writing bad reviews about you, but then they call you to ask if you want to hire them so you can improve your. I mean, what kind of bullshit is that?
That is. It's like big time. It's so unethical.
It's like we're going to dirty you up. Yeah. So then you can hire us to clean it up. It's like those people that do viruses. They go out, they give you a virus, and then they say, oh, we got anti-virus protection here. You need it. But they're the ones that give it to you. You know, that's what I look at Yelp. It's to me, it's a waste of time. And actually, I hate you, Yelp. So there, you heard it. I hate you. You suck.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm right. We're 4.5 stars, which is cool. I'm proud of that. But I mean,
it might be 2.5 now.
Yeah, exactly. You better watch out, man. They're gonna come after you.
2.5, maybe 1.
Hey, I will say this is I don't know. This is honest to God truth. So I did a Yelp ad. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I was paying them $400 a month or whatever. I'm making sure that no one else could post a Yelp advertisement on my. That's another thing. That's bullshit too. So I have a Yelp ad, right? So when you become a Yelp subscriber, no competitor can put their ad on. Like when you go to Yelp, sometimes you're looking for a particular store, and there'll be a competitor store will come on there. They won't allow that to happen. But once you stop paying them, then competitors can be on top of that. So it's like, this is bull, man. What you guys are doing this? And then the thing is too is you can check how many people are interested in your business. So I forgot what numbers, whatever. I had a high number. People always coming to our website. So the moment I stopped advertising, it's an algorithm, right? It's some kind of a thing that they do. All of a sudden, a number of people that were viewing my page was way less. And I called Lane. I said, this is bull. There's no way that all of a sudden, when I stop advertising, less people are watching me. It's because you have some type of program or algorithm that
they're controlling it.
They control that.
That's my beef with them. They're controlling it. Just like Groupon.
Whatever.
Groupon 2 is another one, man. It's like, fuck.
We're going out. We're
going all out on you guys.
This is all owner
You
stuff.
suck.
This is all owner stuff.
Groupon, you suck too. Except when we want the
fighting.
deals, though. We get the good deals.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the physical labor type thing, Groupon sucks. But when it comes to actual selling product, they're not so bad.
Are you going to get sued?
No,
We are.
How can we get sued with telling the truth?
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
I was Groupon property for years.
Yeah. This guy used to work for
ain't there no
Groupon.
more.
He used to work for Groupon.
There no more?
No, I'm not there anymore.
Oh, you're not there no more. I thought you said there no more.
No,
Well,
there's
damn, I wanted to get on and get some specials.
What the fuck?
No, Groupon went from when we first went on Groupon, oh my gosh, we went up like so many students, 1,000 something people bought the memberships. But then Groupon basically told us, I had no options. This is the price. I take it or leave it. So okay, I take it. And then before you know it, people would shop Groupon. Once the Groupon's out, they go somewhere else. So you wouldn't get nobody because the Groupon kept having all these deals. And you're talking, $20 for a month type thing. And then basically Groupon gets $10 of that. So it's like $10 for you, $10 for them. And before you know it, you're like, damn, I made no money. And then they just saturated everything. And then it got to the point where all of a sudden I said, I don't want to do nothing with you guys. And also they changed. Oh, we'll give you this and that. I go, well, you son of a bitch. I go, back then you didn't want to give me anything. It was your way. Now you're calling me. You know what I told them? Fuck you. I don't want nothing to do with you guys. You guys ruined my business.
And then
they did.
And then they started calling me. They're like, hey, because we were always a stepchild to you guys. By the way, this is AKA San Jose. Not that they're both quality gyms, but it's 25,000 square foot facility with a pool, with weights. We're a 5,000 square facility. So we are oftentimes get neglected. And so Groupon started calling me and say, hey. And I'm like, no. If House said no, I said no then.
I said no. They bugged us for a while. My wife would get pissed off and go, stop calling. We're not doing business with you. You guys did not help us out. And Groupon is really good, to be honest with you, for certain things. But for the service industry, though, when they control what we can charge, that wasn't good for us. So I think, to be honest with you, I think Groupon was a great tool if they would have allowed us to have done it correctly. I can honestly say that. So Groupon, you're actually cool if you would have allowed us to do it right, but you didn't. So you sucked for me, but I think you're good for other people.
Man, what I've been experiencing a lot lately, I'll buy just some random thing like a dinner or whatever the hell. I bought something on Groupon a little while ago, and when I would go to the business, they're like, look, we'll give you that price. Just pay us directly. We don't want you to use the Groupon. We'll give you the Groupon price, but just pay us. So like a lot of the vendors do.
Yeah, because basically they're cutting Groupon, which is not fair because Groupon brought the attention to them. Yeah. But the vendors going like, I'm not making any money, so and they're making me pay Groupon all this money. So they're going, no, you come to us, but just don't go through them, and we'll give you the same price. But think about it. So the vendor's going, shit, I'm doubling my money. Yeah. So that's not fair though, because Groupon the tension came through Groupon. But when you're the buyer, you don't give a damn. $20 is $20. It's $20 to you or $20 to you. You don't care. You want the service because that's a great deal. So that's why people do what they do. But But it's fair? No, it's not fair.
I think a lot of people look at it like, as a quick, like, money injection, whereas it's like more like an advertising tool. It's more like just like the drug dealer model, right? To give people a free taste, but get them in the door so they sell them the long-term project, where that first piece has to be that good. We're going to keep coming back. So like if they advertise it more as we're an advertisement tool, period. That way we're trying to generate sales leads. Because if you look at it, it's like there's so many people using that search engine for deals and stuff. But then, like, for certain businesses, it just doesn't work that well.
No.
Because people are going to shop hop anyway. They're going to go and try to get the next one.
Groupon has been horrendously horrible for martial arts gyms. I mean, I thought they were great at first. I was going, 1,100, oh my God, right? 1,100, but dude, none of them, we hardly any signups of that. So we were servicing all that, and all that money went, and man, and then it just dried up, not good.
It worked good for our CrossFit. It worked because we were able to convert a lot of people on that one. So it's like it's hit or miss. You don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And the Groupon customer is a certain person, a certain type of person. They're looking for some type of cheaper price from the norm.
I'd be interested to see like the demographic of who actually is using Groupon, because the CrossFit classes in Sunnyvale, it's mostly women.
Yeah.
And or a lot of those Groupon leads originally, because if you look at who's using Groupon, is it guys on there looking for martial arts? Like, is that where guys look for martial arts stuff? Like, I never thought to look there for a martial arts gym. But I already had one, so you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know, like maybe men versus women looking for the coupons online. I don't know, that sounds sexist or whatever. I don't care, but you know what I'm saying? Like, because I always wonder, like, why
he's sweating because he just said that. Look at him sweating.
It's right through the shirt too.
It's just something he didn't want to say, but look how he's sweating.
Fuck it. No, because we have mostly women in the CrossFit class. And I was like, is it because it's a female instructor? Because we use Groupon? Like, I always wondered why that was.
Yeah, I wish I knew that, because then I could be in control of what's happening. So I've never done any studies or anything like that, but yeah, it's interesting
because there's not many guys there at all.
Yeah,
like, compared. And
I think that should, if I'm a guy and I go and I see all these girls, I'm interested in joining CrossFit, and I'm at a CrossFit gym and there's all these women, I'm joining that gym because one, obviously there's more women, and I like to be surrounded by women, so that's a good thing.
You got a point, right?
there. And so to me, that would draw more men in. I think.
I thought you were going to CrossFit to work out, but if
you're
looking to pick up women, I guess you look to see if they got women, right?
Hey, no, but listen, if anybody says they're just going for workout, I believe it's half truth, because I think it's also a very social environment. You go to CrossFit because it's a community, and you're going to be surrounded. Like, you're going to do things with these people. You're going to go out. So most of the people that are going to CrossFit, at least at our CrossFit, most of them are single. That's I'd say 80%.
Well, don't they have the competition that's over 100,000 that go every year?
Oh yeah, it's huge. They have these huge competitions. They have competitions all the time.
Yeah,
but they have
monstrous
world championships and all that stuff. Yeah, CrossFit's huge. It's growing. It's a very fast growing sport.
It's the other thing that Reebok's involved in right now.
Yeah.
Like they somehow had their ear to the ground and got involved with the two most popular up and coming sports in the world. I mean, you thought Nike would have had the market covered or something, but you look at the new emerging sports right now, and Reebok's right there.
Well, Nike passed on the UFC. Nike was the first one that they were in talks with. Well, one of them, anyways, and Nike passed. They thought that the deal was just little too much favor not for them, so they passed on the deal. I do know that because I did speak to the individual that was involved in the talks, with the UFC, and he said that it didn't benefit them.
I'm hoping they change that Reebok. I mean, I don't know how long. When does that end? You know, the agreement or the?
If I remember correctly, wasn't it a 7-year deal?
Yeah, I think it was
7-year deal, and actually the new uniforms are coming this year. They're changing the uniforms. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So that I'm kind of excited to see how the new uniforms look, because I don't like the old ones.
Yeah. No.
But they I mean, I must have 50 Reebok outfits, because every time you go with the new fighter, you get a different outfit, and you get different shoes. I got a ton of Reebok shoes.
The only thing that sucks with that is they got the guy's name on it. It's like, yeah, it's great. I got a cool outfit, but I got to wear
Velasquez, or I got to wear Cormier, or I got to wear.
Well, that's the whole idea, right? To build the fighter. You know,
yeah,
you
but
wear the stuff.
once it's done, though, you want to go out in the street and hang out, and I'm like, okay, all right.
Well, not too many. I don't see too many people wearing the Reebok outfits.
No. My favorite were the misprints that came out when they first announced them.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny.
Gilbert Melendez once said Giblert.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, they butchered, and then Habib, because he's Muslim. Yeah. There was something wrong on his too.
Oh, boy.
You know, they did some boo-boos. But, you know, it's like anything, right? When you start something, there's bound to be a few things that are going to go wrong before they get it right. And Reebok's got it correct, and they're doing a great job. And you know, they are doing a great job. It's not their fault. They did a good deal. You know, it's the deal that was made, you know, and they're a great product, and they're doing a good job with the product line.
Yeah, man. If the UFC cut the deal's cut. That's it. You can't blame Reebok for taking a good deal. There's
hell no. They made the deal, you know, and it's like you can't go blaming the apparel company, who's a great line, that you screwed the fighters. Wait a minute, they made the deal with the UFC. You know, it's what the UFC does with it. Reebok doesn't have any discretion as to where the money goes. I mean, that's somebody else's deal. So you know. But I think everybody understands that now, and I think everything's on the right track.
It seems like it. I still really like the Giblert shirt, and I think the other one was the North. They put the wrong Ireland flag on one of them.
Connor.
Yeah,
Connor.
It was like the Republic.
And Connor was pretty upset about that. He I think he Instagrammed that, and he wasn't happy about it. So they corrected that right away.
Yeah, man. But I mean, it just shows the growth of the sport and the things, the complaints, all the talk of unionizing, all this stuff. It's going to normalize over time. Like wherever the market should go, it's a free market. It's going to go. So I mean, you know, whether it changes, whether the payouts change, whether all this stuff, it's eventually going to adjust.
Yeah,
it's just how
it's all going in the right direction.
Man, back's killing me. Yeah, I am sweating through the stupid shirt.
That's all right.
It's actually nice. It's a lovely shirt.
Yeah, AK baby.
I call it stupid shirt.
I love the shirt.
Okay.
I'm trying to come back after I already made the comments.
There's a second. We're doing a second one soon, sometime. Yeah.
Uh-oh. I still have the old logo. Whatever happened with the Sunnyvale logo?
Well, I have to go. Everything has to go through Hav. I have to make sure. So I made
he didn't go through me. Yeah, he just did it.
Yeah. So I you know what? I didn't like. I'm like I don't like that. It's just 3 block letters. I'm like I'm gonna make something cool. And so I hired a graphic designer, and he made this cool logo. And then Hav said, Alex, you can't have that logo. I was like, okay.
Yeah, this is the trademark. I can't change
this logo.
Yeah,
it's trademarked. And so there's like a technicality. I mean, I can't, because I guess if it's trademarked, you can't change it whatsoever. So I had to change it back.
Can you change Coca-Cola's?
No, yeah.
McDonald's, you can't change it. Yeah. You know, otherwise people distort it and the brand image, and you can't. Brand image is important.
So I'm rocking a bootleg hat. You're telling me.
You got bootleg stuff. Don't let Joanna see any of that stuff, then she'll get upset at you.
Yeah, it should be fun.
But just tell it was years ago.
I really like that hat.
I did too. You wear it all the time.
Yeah, I don't have many hats. I don't like the new kind, those trucker hats. I like the dad caps, the flex fit ones.
No, in actuality, be honest with you, I do have the letters AKA, so I can make them any way I want, and that'll still be trademarked. Because I have that too. I have 3. I have the American Kickboxing Academy trademark. I got this one trademarked, and I got the letters AKA for martial arts. So actually, we could change it, but then it'll be brand confusion, like I said. So that's why I won't change it. But I do have it. So if somewhere down the line I want to change them, I can, but I'm not going to.
It's crazy that the gym has actually gotten big enough with MMA and UFC. You can actually type AKA, and also known as doesn't come up first.
Yeah, sometimes, right? Also known as there should be, but AKA comes up first sometimes. As I did that, and I was, what the hell? We coming up? I go, wow, that's. So a lot of people that want to know AKA, but not really AKA the martial arts, they're going to put AKA, also known as, and AKA comes up. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like all these school children trying to figure out what AKA means in their books at school. They see a picture of DC and Luke Rockhold and Kane come up. Like, I don't know if that's what they're talking about in Charlie Brown, but
yeah, like, right.
Maybe okay. What's this MMA thing? So we'll get more fans off of that, right? All right. So I got to hear some old Alex stories. When he first came in, he said he was your worst student. Like, how bad?
Alex?
How bad?
He doesn't mean by technicality. I was very skillful, but causing trouble.
No, Alex was really bad. I could never have him spar anybody because if I told him go easy, he goes, yeah, okay, I will. He ended up hurting him every time, every single time. But in Alex's defense, he goes, well, they're bigger than me. I go, yeah, but they're not your skill set. They're nowhere near your level. And yeah, I don't know how many guys. One guy beat up so bad, the guy was so pissed off, he fuming to be outside, and he goes, that little fucker didn't stand still. If you don't stand still, I'd get him. And I said, well, he's not going to stand still. That's the purpose of why you're doing this. You're not going to stand still. So that's my only thing about Alex is he beat up all my students.
That was a long time. I was a kid. That was when I was younger. When I got older, I didn't beat up as many people. That's for sure.
So when the Sunnyvale AKA first opened, we had another guy there. You mentioned earlier, Bobby Southworth.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers Bobby from Ultimate Fighter, from Strike Force, from UFC. You have any good Bobby stories?
There's too many about Bobby. Bobby's a great guy. Just Bobby's a good guy, dude. He's a good person, and he's got an AKA in Texas, and nothing really comes to mind, other than I guess the funniest thing about Bobby Southworth is I'm holding mitts for him one day, and he sweats like crazy, right? And sweats hit me, and now it's like in the eye, and then one got my mouth, and I'm like, I go, Bobby, you been drinking? He goes, oh yeah, I did a 12-pack yesterday. How you know? I go, sweat. He goes, and I go, oh God. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ. that really bad on me, right? So I was kind of like, holding mitts for Bobby was horrible because his sweat was flying all over the damn place.
Yeah.
I remember I got my blue belt from Bobby, and I was rolling with him right before he had moved, and we're doing I was going for a sweep, and I spazzed out, and I kneed him right in the lip, and I split his lip. I thought he was going to kill me. He got the look totally changed, and I was like, oh shit. He was cool about it, but that was like the one time I was like, all right, Bobby's actually going to kill me this time.
Yeah.
So I frustrated that guy a lot. I wasn't that coordinated at all.
I will tell you a story about you, though. It's so funny between me and Bobby. It's so hilarious. Okay, and I don't think I've ever told you this story. So we were just opened the gym, and I'm teaching the kick. So at our gym, we have like jiu-jitsu on one side and kickboxing on the other. It's one big giant mat. So we sometimes meet in the middle and start talking about other people and stuff. And Bob goes, "You're only as strong as your weakest link." And he would point to somebody in my class. And I would point at you and Chester. And then we would start laughing. And what's so funny about that is that now you're like one of the best guys at the gym. And it's an amazing story because that's why I always tell people it's like hard work will beat skill any day. And you were the hardest worker, dude. So I got props to you. But
I forgot to leave.
Yeah. And but honestly, I always remember that. And we would laugh so hard. And it was fun teaching with Bobby because he was just a character. And we would just have so much time. We would talk so much shit. But at the same time, we were enjoying ourselves.
Yeah, that was my only repeatable Bobby story. He would look around, like he wouldn't say anything in front of like a lot of people, but like he'd always have weird jokes and stuff. Like he'd have just sort of like he had his own
bad jokes.
Yeah.
His jokes are bad.
His jokes suck.
He'd be teaching a class or whatever. There'd be a couple of us. He's trying to show us a move, and like I'd always know something horrible was about to come at him because he'd look around real quick. He'd go left to right.
Yeah.
Because Athena was there. Like there was ever parents or family. He never cursed or anything like that. And he was cool, but he was about to say something. He was about to drop some knowledge on us, and he'd look left to right.
Yeah.
And then he'd say something, and you just have a look of shock on your face. Like, yep.
He just said that.
Yep,
Yeah.
Bobby just said that.
Yeah.
I learned something every single time. And you can't unlearn those
But he's
things.
a really good teacher. He's an excellent,
exceptional teacher.
Yeah, he's very good. Most of all my fundamentals I learned from Bobby.
Yeah.
So he's very, very good, very knowledgeable. Good teacher, great communicator. He's a really good teacher.
And for his size, like he can move really well. I went to a Marcelo Garcia seminar with Bobby in Santa Cruz over at Kaijin with when Paul Schreiner was still here, and just seeing him roll with Garth, and then I saw him roll with Marcelo, and it was like he was hanging right there with Marcelo Garcia, and that's like you see this 230, 225 pound guy, but no, he was very agile, able to do the same type of stuff Marcelo was doing, and he's a great teacher. Our whole 101, that's all Bobby.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All Jiu-Jitsu 101, like all the basic fundamental stuff, like a lot of stuff I still use. because he's like very detail oriented. Because if you were just using muscle or whatever, because a lot of larger instructors, it's like smaller dudes go to this class like, I can't really relate to that. Like, because they're looking to do like fancy technical stuff. But Bobby can move for a guy like guy's a career athlete. He's Davis point guard or whatever.
Yep.
So no, Bobby's a great teacher. I just we don't really talk about him that much anymore because he's been gone a while. But I miss the guy.
In a way, I wish he would come back just to visit us because it's amazing what AK Sunnyvale has accomplished and how far it's gone. Just with everything, with jiu-jitsu, with the people we've. I remember my goal when I first opened the gym is I wanted to have a champion MMA fighter, and I did that with Anthony Doe, which I'm really proud of. And then my second goal was I wanted to have a UFC fighter. That's something that I'm still working on because people don't realize how hard it is to get in the UFC. People think, oh wow, UFC. The UFC is just like Major League Baseball. It's like you got AA, AAA, single A. I mean, it's the show. Only a few people, only the best of the best are going to make it in the UFC, and that's what Hobbs, through the years has been able to do. And it's an incredible accomplishment. And it's tough. It's tough to get in the UFC, and it's even tougher to stay in the UFC.
So I remember the first couple months of AK Sunnyvale being open. The ring was barely there. We had the fence kind of dividing in the middle and stuff. It was a totally different layout. And Bobby would come in and he would talk about Kane. And he hadn't debuted in the UFC yet. I guess he was still in, was it IFL?
No. Kane, his first fight was in, I think, maybe Bulldog or Russia or something like that. Then his second fight was with no, I think his first fight was with the Strikeforce with Scott Coker up in Fresno, and but he didn't sign with Scott. We just asked Scott if he can get a fight there, and Scott did us a favor. The plan for Kane was right off the bat to put him in the UFC. It was never to go anywhere else. So the UFC was where he was going to go. He had 2 fights. I wanted to get 10 fights with Kane before we shipped him to the UFC. But after his second fight, nobody wanted to fight him. He fought, I think, Jeremiah Constant in his second fight, and he broke his hand. And while we were waiting, his hand was healing. Kane tried to fight anybody, anywhere on short notice, and we went to Mexico on a one-day notice, and the guy took a look at him. It was like, John's canceled that. They want to fight him. And finally, I got tired of Bob trying to get him fights and everybody backing out, that I told Bob, you need to have a meeting with Dana White and have Dana look at Kane. So they took, Christian Wellish, and I forgot who else, maybe Paul Winnatel. I could be wrong about Paul. I think Mike Kyle, Christian Wellish and Mike Kyle went to Las Vegas to perform in front of Dana. And, Mike Kyle was already in the UFC, and so was Christian. So they went with Kane, and I guess I wasn't there, but I guess the first thing Dana said to Bob Cook was, why don't we have this guy signed? And that's how Kane started. And his third fight was pro as an MMA fighter was with the UFC.
I just remember hearing Bobby very distinctly saying that every time he would train with Kane, like anytime, as soon as he would teach him something, he'd be great at it immediately, and that you would say basically that Kane's going to be UFC heavyweight champion. Like there's no two ways about it. He's going to be a UFC heavyweight champion, and like he affirmed this like so many times, like that that's what Hobbs says. He sees this guy, he's going to be a heavyweight champion. And so now when another AKA fighter is in a title picture, I'm like, I'm not surprised. No, he wouldn't even be there if he wasn't there to win the belt. So when the other belts have come subsequently into AKA, DC and Luke, it's not even surprising now because
No, I knew Luke was going to be a champion the very first day he came. The talent, the desire. I mean, the thing about Luke Rockhold, he came in from Santa Cruz, and it was Mike Weaver, who's a black belt with Claudio Franco, I believe. So he brought him over, and the very first day I see Luke, he come in and he wanted to spar. And I go, okay. I go, you got a mouthpiece? He goes, mouthpiece? He goes, I don't have a mouthpiece. So I said, go to Target, get a mouth. They got him there. And I'm thinking, he's not going to go to Target and come back with the mouth. Son of a bitch. Luke goes to Target, comes back, I got the mouthpiece. So I'm like, oh, okay. I put him in there, and I had him spar with one of my UFC guys, and son of a bitch. He was so impressive, raw, but so impressive. I said, my God, this guy's going to be a champ. Mm-hmm. So from that one little session, I think Luke was 21 or 22 years of age, and I was after Bob Cook. I go, Bob, did you go after that kid? I want you to sign that kid. He's going to be something special. Oh, yeah, no, I haven't said. We'll get to it. I go, Bob, I need you to go after that kid. So Bob still didn't go after him. Then I saw Luke Rockhold at a Civic Auditorium MMA fights, And when I saw him up there, I said, "Hey," I go, "I've been looking for you." I go, "We want you to come up." He goes, "Oh yeah, I'm coming." So yeah, that's how Luke Rockhold came on board. Just one day, you look at the kid, had incredible talent.
Yeah, just seeing how he moves in the cage, and then hearing, he wasn't a kickboxer just from a trade. Like, did he grow up in martial arts? Like, what I've heard is that most of it came here. This is just stuff.
Yeah, this is the thing about Luke Rockhold. The Sherdog guys, Greg Sherdog and Greg Savage, used to always come to our gym to do interviews and whatnot, and they would look at Luke and they'd look at him and go, "Hey, who's that kickboxer?" I go, "I'm not a kickboxer. He's a jiu-jitsu guy." They go, "Oh, we thought he was a kickboxer." I go, "No, it's just he took to it real quick." What I did with Luke is I'd show him how to do a kick, and I make him do 1,000 kicks. So he'd be out there 1,000 kicks a day, boom, right, left leg, and he got so goddamn good. He looked like he was a kickboxer, and he was very dedicated. He knew what he wanted to do, and Luke was one of these guys that was more or less self-motivated. You didn't have to tell him, "You could do this." He knew what he was going to do, and he knew how he was going to do it, and he actually has picked out how he's going to fight people, strategy-wise and everything. He's one guy that I don't have to do anything but just listen to him and say, "Okay, well that probably will work or that won't work." And Luke's been that way ever since from the beginning.
Oh man, yeah, just the dexterity and coordination he has. He just has really great cage awareness. Seeing him out there and know that he isn't a kickboxer, wasn't one before. It's always been really surprising. It's an amazing athlete, man. In terms of like up and comers right now, who should people be watching out for? That's, you have
number one, Khabib probably.
Well, Khabib.
Well, Khabib's already regarded as he's number one, and everybody knows anything that unless you can beat his wrestling, you're not going to beat him, unless you get lucky and knock him out. But no one's going to beat him. Not Conor, not Tony Ferguson. They're not going to beat him as long as he has that desire to still want to be UFC champion. Khabib Nurmagomedov is going to be the UFC lightweight, UFC champion. Guaranteed. It won't be this year, but he'll have it next year. If anything, maybe he'll get interim title this year, because you never know what's going to happen with Conor. Because if Conor does really well with Mayweather, which I expect that even if Conor goes 4 rounds or 5 rounds, that's really well. But I'm thinking that Conor potentially can go 12 rounds with Mayweather, because Mayweather's going to stay in his shell. I'm thinking, until I just saw that Mayweather's petitioning for lighter gloves. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute here. So maybe Mayweather's thinking about coming out of his shell and putting some heat on there, because why would you do that? Why would you ask for lighter gloves, knowing full well in the past he's always wanted the more padded gloves? He didn't want the Reyes horsehair gloves. He's always looking for more padded gloves. So now this time around, he's looking to try to get approval for lighter gloves. Why is he doing a ploy, knowing that the commission isn't going to allow it, or what's he doing? I don't know. But I do know that he's never asked for that. So it could mean that he's coming out guns a-blazing, and that could be a potential mistake. Potential.
Well, strategically, for him to use the gloves as a ploy to get Conor to come down in weight, to be fighting a smaller version of Conor, which is closer to his physical, walk around weight, it might just be him not wanting to deal with a larger fighter.
Are they talking about lower weight? I was assuming it's 154. It's never been changed. So they just want lower gloves, because Conor isn't going to go for losing the weight. I don't think that's it. I think he's asking for smaller gloves.
No, but exactly. But the weight restriction is what keeps the glove size where it is. So if we say we want smaller gloves, you're going to be a smaller weight. For 154, it's 10 ounces. So it's a trick kind of backdoor way of getting them to say, okay, we want to do.
But the question is, will the commission approve it? And when you got that kind of money, there's a good possibility the commission might approve it. For this one particular, what you want to call, Inoki versus Muhammad Ali style event. It's hard to say. I know anything's possible, because most people thought originally that there's no way in hell that the commission is going to approve Conor boxing, Mayweather. There's no way he has no pro boxing. I'm thinking, you crazy? With that kind of money, they're going to approve it, and hands down. So to me, if Mayweather really wants lower gloves, I'm pretty goddamn sure they're going to approve it, based on there's too much goddamn money for everybody to be made. So if he really, really wants it, it's going to happen. If he's just using it as a tactic, he won't know. But at last, I guess we'll know by when they don't approve it.
Yeah, because the initial response that, the PR response that everyone's seen already from the athletic commission is, 154 pounds is what's basically attached to those gloves. So he might just want to not fight Conor after seeing the size difference, because he's wearing lifts in his boots allegedly or whatever when they're doing the what are those
stare downs.
The stare downs, Mayweather.
Oh, okay.
He's almost as tall as Conor, but he's a little slightly shorter, so he put lifts on his shoes supposedly.
Okay.
So we'll see come fight time, right? I mean, we'll see.
I hope Conor does good. I hope he.
Conor's, if you read everything that Paulie, the pro boxer, the Showtime guy that's had the beef with McGregor now, he's talking. He ain't talking like he's whooping him.
Yeah.
So guess what? People are going to be in for a good, entertaining fight. And it's going to be an entertaining fight. I don't count Conor out, but I wouldn't put my money on him. But I wouldn't count him out.
The Vegas odds are so weird. After the big promotional tour they did, they got almost even, not quite even, but not as lopsided as people would imagine for a guy that's never.
It was 1-7, right? And it should be 1-50.
And now it's like plus 250 or plus 300, something like that. It's a sucker bet. But I mean, if lightning strikes, that's not the kind of money you'd want to be investing. It's not a big enough payoff to even.
He is hard enough for lightning to strike, and if Mayweather gets out of his shell, which he never has with all the other top guys. Earlier on in his career, he did, and that's where he got dropped too, because he got out. But there's nobody been in the defensive category like Mayweather. He's the best there's ever been, And if he stays in that same position, like he doesn't want to prove anything, I mean, he's just going to beat the living hell out of McGregor. There's no way in hell he's not going to.
Yeah.
Anybody he can do that to if he decides that's what he wants. So to me, it comes down to what Mayweather wants to do. If he stays in his shell and plays the defense like he did with with all the other greats, Conor ain't gonna get it.
Long day.
Long day in the office, and and then the thing is about someone like Mayweather, he'll pick at you first round, second round, maybe the third round you're still strong, but after that he's gonna get you, hit the nice little body shot, this and that, and then wear you down. Then he increases his tempo as you decrease. So making 12 rounds is it's going to be a hardship. I think for me, if Conor can make 12 rounds, that's a huge victory.
Oh, absolutely. It's just seeing how Mayweather operates. He doesn't get hit, and he throws punches very tactfully. He doesn't throw that many punches, but when he does, he's damn accurate. So going out there, I don't see how Conor lasts 12 rounds, honestly. But if anybody can piss you off bad enough to make a mistake, to make a counterpuncher like McGregor, like Mayweather make a mistake, it's going to be Conor, because you see what he's already done, all the trash talk and just getting in it. Do you think he's actually in his head with all this?
No, he's not. He's not in Mayweather's head at all. I think that if anything, that could happen, it would be that Mayweather slightly underestimates him. That would be the only mistake. But I definitely, you're not getting in Mayweather's head. Not going to happen. He's such a professional. And as a matter of fact, if you watch the world tour or their press tour, you've seen how, that first it started out where Conor was taken by surprise and Mayweather smashed him. Yeah. But then the second one, Conor comes back and kind of smashes Mayweather, but then Mayweather picks up the tempo and they were back to back, so it wasn't one of those where, Mayweather got slayed in the press conference. So he did not. Mm-hmm. He did not. He held his own. And I thought, because Conor was so great at it, that Conor was going to slay him. But I was completely wrong. Mayweather was right in there with him.
Mm-hmm. So the clips they kept putting on social media through all the different media venues, like they showed Conor slaying him. They didn't show the whole thing front to back. And a lot of people didn't watch it. So to a lot of people, what the press is showing was that Conor did slay him on all three of them. And then
there was four.
No, there's four.
There was four. And he did not slay him on all of them. No, first one he got slayed. He was totally thrown off guard. The second one he slayed Mayweather, but Mayweather held his own in all of them. They both held their own. The one where Conor got it was when he went out there with his shirt off, with the mink like coat. Yeah. And that's when he looked. So he lost that one. So to me, it was 2-2.
Okay. The school bag thing killed him, though. You can't even read when you have a school bag or the dress. He just had a lot of one-liners, I think, that made more sound bites and made more got more media attention. And then they brought the race card into it at the end, which got stupid. And then
Well, anytime you bring the race card, it's like why are you bringing something into that really has no bearance in what they're doing? I mean, it really doesn't. But well, people do what they do. I don't even want to go into that because it's stupid.
I don't know if what McGregor said was intentionally racist, or maybe in Ireland they say that to anybody, but I don't know. Then it got ugly.
I think personally speaking, then both of those guys, they're not racist about anything or anybody. It's a people thing, They either like you or they don't like you. And look at who Mayweather's around all the time. Conor too. I don't buy any of that stuff. So when I hear that stuff, like I said, I just ignore it because that's just the media trying to create something that's not there.
Mayweather team's cool. I use the same barber, like the one in Vegas right there. That's Ice Out or whatever it's called. Like his personal barber. He has he comes with him everywhere. This woman is his personal barber. She goes in the entourage everywhere he goes. So this guy's bald and has a personal barber, but she has a really nice barber shop. That's every time I'm in Vegas, that's where I go, and they're hella nice. They're all part of Money Team. They're all really nice. They don't care. They're like, oh, it's a white guy in a black barber shop. It's like it's normal.
Yeah,
they're all cool.
Yeah, no. Mayweather's good to people. He's not good to any particular race. It's people. He's just good to his people. I'm not saying he's good to all people, but he's good to his people.
Yeah, I mean, $100 million, and they already have a great story going. Like the MMA thing versus boxing, they're the two tops of the sport in terms of buy rate and top in terms of skill, all this stuff. Like they already have the best story right there, and then going down that right, I think it just makes it kind of stupid. I hope they gloss over it and kind of move on. Like I don't like hearing that as part of the press. Yeah. It's already a perfect story. You don't need anything else. You don't need that. It doesn't have to be the great white hype. It can just be MMA dude versus boxing dude. They're the best of the best, and let's see what happens. And
well, at the end of the day, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see the best MMA boxer versus the best boxer on the planet. Yeah. So we'll see what Conor can do having no professional boxing matches. But in all fairness, you can't say he's not been there in a professional level because look at Conor's fights. He's used boxing primarily as his biggest tool. I mean, and he's made everybody look silly, He's except for Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz made him look silly, And the second fight they fought, Nate Diaz, I believe, and I'm pretty damn sure he had broken ribs going into that fight. So a lot of people don't know that. And but Nate kind of gives it away by saying that had that been me, I would have finished me. So I said, oh, what's he trying to say here? So he's trying to say is that he fought that fight on broken ribs, and that's why he's saying that would have been me, I would have finished me. So I didn't know that. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. They're not picking that up.
No,
Diaz doesn't like to bitch about nothing. They like to complain. He ain't saying it. He's not saying he had broken ribs, but I know he had bad ribs.
He's a man's man. He's going to go out there and do it anyway.
He ain't going to bitch about it. He went out there, he did it. But, his comment when he said, if that had been me, I'd have finished me. So I'm like, well, okay, something was wrong with him.
I love the honesty, man. Well, man, we've been here for a while. I'm sweating like a pig again under the lamps. Alex, I asked Hav, in terms of up-and-coming guys, I know you're in the fight management game now. You had a fighter actually just compete and win on the latest UFC on Fox card in Mexico, Diablito. So tell us a little bit about your experience there.
It was awesome. It's great now that I'm shifting over to training fighters and I'm enjoying that. It's a great opportunity. I get to share my knowledge finally with some of these guys. And Diablito is an up and coming guy. He's 4-1-1 now in the UFC. I think he's ranked number 25 or 26 in the UFC. I think he's pretty close to maybe one or two fights breaking the top 10. I think he's got a lot of great intangibles. He's skillful, but he's also got great heart. He's a hard worker. The kid's got a lot of potential. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him move up in the UFC. So yeah, for sure.
So is he your up and coming pick?
Yeah, we have quite a few. We have some guys that aren't in the UFC that are going to have potential to be in the UFC. We have a lot of Bellator guys. But yeah, for me, I think he's somebody that you have to keep your eye out on for.
All right. Well, it's been a little bit of time now. I think we went over a little bit, but man, it's an honor and a pleasure. I'm always been wanting to have you on here. I went through about a year of these solo shows, and I just didn't want to come over to the headquarters and didn't want to start, Alex, can you hook me up with this fighter? Just to get you on the show. I wanted to make sure that I'm putting a quality show out there. I wanted to, you know what I mean? I didn't want the nepotism, just get a bunch of AKA guys on, you know, favors from Alex or whatever, and then just put a crap product out there. I want to make sure that the production value is something I can be proud of, and something that when I'm saying I'm representing AKA, the work and the end product actually reflects something quality of somebody that did the work and was prepared. So I'm very honored to have you on the show, and to be a part of, you know, AKA Sunnyvale, San Jose, the family in general. How I've grown as an adult and a human being, being a part of AKA. So Alex is he's been there for me through ups and downs. I've gone through some crap in my personal life, professionally, all kinds of stuff, and you know, he hasn't been judgmental. He's always been cool. He's always been really supportive, and always you know, been there when times have been tough. And you know, so I really appreciate that, man. So
No
thank
problem.
you.
No problem.
And thank you very
No
much,
problem.
Javier, brother.
Thanks.
Cool. Episode 53. Any
Peace
plugs?
out.
Any sponsors, anything like that?
Yeah.
Plugs?
You got any sponsors? Javi?
Do I? I have any
Do you
sponsors?
have any sponsors?
Yeah, I mean, Reebok,
Reebok, that's right.
Monster.
Monster Energy, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Many more to come.
Yeah. I love. See, that's cool. And you would ask me that question, I'd be like, no, he's got these major giant ones, Reebok and Monster. Yeah, so awesome, Hob.
All right.
Coming soon.
And thanks to Kicks Inc. And Bronze Humanity. They're a tanning place in San Jose. Go get a tan, avoid the harmful rays of the sun. And for Jordans, Yeezys, all that stuff, Kicks Inc. in San Jose over by the Valley Fair Mall. Episode 53, Javier Mendez, Alex Kababi, and American Kickboxing Academy, San Jose, California, Bay Area.
De tudo, sentimento bom que me leva pro outro mundo. A vontade de te ver já é maior que tudo. Não existem distâncias no meu novo mundo.